My name is Olsson-Campbell, and I'm going to do a chair workout for you today. What you'll need is a chair, obviously, and if you have one of these bands, we're going to be using that for our strength training. We're going to get started with a bit of a warm-up, and I'm going to do everything or most things in the chair seated. However, if it's available to you, it's always good to do the exercises standing, because then we use our core musculature a bit more, and it's functional for our daily living. If you'd like to add some music, please pick a track or music that you like and play in the background as we go along. So we're going to start with just getting our core active. So we might do a few of our kind of almost like slouchy postures. I'm going to let you just sort of relax and then focus on your core. Start to push down through the sitting bones, lengthen your spine, articulate it up, relax your shoulders down, and feel that nice, easy standing or seated posture. Let's do that again. As you fold forward, making a letter C with your spine, we'll exhale. And then on the inhale, we're going to lift ourselves up, lengthen the spine, all the way up to vertical. One last time, exhale as we release forward, flexing the spine. And then inhale as we lift and lengthen, grow tall and engage through our core. Feeling our shoulders softly sliding down the back, a nice width across the collarbone. Some core activation in the abdominals and the back, co-contracting to support our lumbar spine. And you might also want to draw the chin slightly back just to create a bit of retraction. You might feel a gentle stretch at the back of your neck. Okay, so we're just going to start with a few deep breaths. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead, just to whatever range is comfortable for you. And then exhale as we draw the hands back down the center. Inhale, sweeping the lungs or the arms, opening the lungs. And exhale, back to the center. One more big breath. Wonderful. So we're going to start to warm up now. We're going to start with just a little jogging motion or walking, running, whatever you like to envision. And we're going to do that for just a few minutes, starting to get our heart rate up, the blood flowing to the joints, and just kind of getting our circulation going, if you will. So if you're standing, then you can march standing. And we'll change it up a little bit as we go along. Again, we try to maintain the posture. Sometimes when we're marching, we start to slouch back. So just remember to sit tall, lift your heart, and just go where you're comfortable. Okay, we're going to give those hip flexors a bit of break. You start to feel that. And we're just going to start taking the heel forward to a little tap. Good. So we can keep that here. If you're feeling pretty comfortable with it, want to get some coordination, sort of fire up our nervous system a bit more. We're going to take those arms out and we're going to row and push alternately. And remember to keep breathing. Just nice, easy breaths. Getting our heart rate up a little bit more, pumping that blood, warming ourselves up. Good. Awesome. Let's do 4 more. 3, 2, and 1. Good. Bring those hands back down. Now we're going to do a little tap up to the side, working our legs into what's called abduction, seated abduction. Good. Now if you like, we're going to add a little more shoulder with this. So we're going to take those hands forward and we're going to do a little rotator cuff move with that abduction of the hip. So we want to think about sort of the shoulder blades, which are called our scapula. Sort of as you go back, you want to feel them, the muscles around the scapula being a little more active. We're still breathing, we're still sitting tall, just warming up those joints. So if you're standing, you can do toe taps out to the side, or you can do a step touch. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, so we're going to warm up our knee joint a little bit more by doing a little kick out. Just a little kick Awesome. And we're going to take those arms now, in addition. If you find when you kick you really need to lean back, then I would keep those kicks low or go back to the toe taps. Okay, and we're going to take those arms and lift them up into a lateral raise. So what we're trying to do is rehearse some of the moves we're going to do later on with the bands. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good job. And now we're just going to bring our weight onto our thighs a bit, and we're just going to warm up our shins. Bit of toe tapping. Good. Now we might want to add some wrist movement in there. We might want to do them bilateral so we can kind of take the fingers up and back. Let's warm up those wrists a bit. And we'll do some circles too. So some nice little circles with the wrists, and then taking maybe a foot at the same time, do some ankle circles. Let's switch direction. Okay, and I recommend wearing shoes if you do anything standing for sure, and shoes with good grip. I teach a lot of yoga, so sometimes I forget to put my shoes on for this type of stuff. Good. Okay, so from here we're just going to open and close our fingers a bit, just kind of flare them open and close. And we'll just warm up our hands a bit too. Now while we're doing that, we can add a little calf raise, again warming up our ankles and our lower legs. Okay, so hopefully you're feeling a bit warmed up now, and we're ready to start. So we're going to do some sit to stands. Now you could have your hands here, I just don't want you to push too hard. If you had a chair with arms, you could use that, but as much as you can, you want to try and use your legs to help push you out of the chair. So if you're comfortable with it, you could have your hands here, or you might want that little counterbalance of having the arms out. So you can try it however it works for you. So I want you to start by thinking about pushing your feet down into the floor and squeezing your glutes, your buttocks, and just kind of doing that lift. So you're maybe not coming off the chair, but you feel like you're pushing the feet into the floor and you're attempting to make the lift. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. All right, so let's do that a few more times. And then if you're comfortable to do so, you could take it to the next step, which is to sort of control your lift as you come out of the chair to a nice full extended hip position, and then slowly bring yourself back down. So one thing to be conscious of is sometimes our knees will sort of knock in almost like an assist to come up, but we want to keep the knees and the toes aligned so they're going in the same direction. So they're not going in or out, but they're sort of going in the same direction. And we really want to feel that energy of pushing down into the floor. And also it's important to sort of resist really a ton of momentum. So we want to feel like through those sticky points that you're resisting the urge to either flop down into your chair or to sort of pop up out of the chair. So we'll just do a few more of those. And this is a very functional exercise. We need to stay off any chair that we're sitting on, get out of the car, get off the toilet. So this is one of those essentials. If you find your knees, however, are bothering you, maybe the chair's a bit too low, you could either find a higher chair, or maybe there's something you could use, some big books or something to stack and make your chair a little bit higher so that that angle isn't so deep for you. Okay, another option, and I'd just like to show you, is to do a squat. So you could have your chair in front of you for balance, and all of those exercise in for an assist as well. Or you could have your hands here or just above the chair as you go down. Okay, so that way you can control how low you go. So if that's available to you, you're always welcome to do that type of an exercise. Okay, so we've done our sit to stands now, and we're going to now move into some work for our upper body. And we're going to do something called a row, which is great for our upper back. So we're going to take that band that you've got, and we're gonna find the resistance that we like. And the nice thing about the bands is that you can choke up on them to create more or choke down more or less resistance. So you could have your heel planted on the ground if you prefer, and we can row like so. You could also have both feet in there and row like so. Or if it's available to you, if it's comfortable for you, you could bring the leg up, push down with the hips. Make sure this knee is a bit bent so that you can maintain good posture and alignment. And then we simply keep the wrists in line with the rest of the forearm and row back. Make sure to breathe out on the effort and in on the way back. Now we're just trying to do about 10 reps. And our goal is to feel fatigued after the 10 to 15 reps, somewhere in that range. If you feel you can do a whole bunch more in a row, then you know it's probably time to choke up a little more on that band. And sometimes when I'm talking, I lose count. So if you find we're doing more than 10 or 12 or whatever is comfortable for you, then you know you can stop anytime. Okay, I'm going to assume that's close to our number. And what we're going to do is work the oppositional muscle group. So essentially we're doing a tri-sat, doing our sit to stands, and then we're moving to 2 alternate upper body exercises. So we're going to work our chest now, and again you can do all of these exercises, this exercise standing. Elbows up about 90 degrees at shoulder height. Your wrists are nice and straight. Again, you've picked the choke that you like, and we're going to exhale, push forward, inhale, come back to 90. Exhale, push, and inhale back. So the last exercise we did was for the upper back, and this one is for our chest, so our pectoralis muscles. And make sure, again, we're breathing out, breathing in, keeping our elbows up, coming back to 90, keeping our wrists nice and straight and our core nice and strong. Exhale and inhale. Exhale and inhale. Few more. Last time. Awesome, good job, you guys. Okay, we're gonna go back to our sit to stands. And just as an option, I'm gonna show you, or your squats. If you prefer squats, please do those. As an option, we might add the band for a little bit of resistance training. Okay, so we're gonna take the bands and just kind of hug them in. You can either fold them. Some of you might prefer to have it just lower and just grab from here. So you can try both ways, okay? And we're gonna do the exact same thing. We're gonna push through the feet, come up, and it'll just create a little more resistance as we lift and lower. Good job. All right, so we're gonna exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. If you wanted a little more resistance, I'll just show you. You can do that little fold there, or you could do over the shoulders if you want to kind of have them back there. You could do that. So you kind of play around with it, see what feels most comfortable to you. So you'll notice that your band is going to want to really pull you down to the chair. So that's your chance to sort of resist that elastic pull back down. All right, let's just do 2 more. And last one. Awesome. Okay, let's release that. We're gonna go ahead and do the other. If you had it on one foot, do the other foot. If you had it on both, then just go bilateral again. So whatever you like. We're going to do our second row. So again, this is for our upper back, great for our postural muscles throughout the upper back. Sometimes we tend to get a little slouchy, and that just kind of helps combat that urge to fold inward. So we're going to exhale as we pull back, Inhale as we extend the arms. Exhale, retracting our shoulder blades, bringing them together somewhat and sliding them also somewhat down the back, where we're kind of activating our upper back, our rhomboids, our middle traps. Breathing. Exhale, maintaining our good posture alignment, our head and neck alignment. Let's do 3 more. 3, 2, nice and controlled. Last one. Good. All right, so we're going to go back to our chest exercise. Again, just pick the choke that works for you. I always like to do a loose loop. You could let the tails just hang, or you might want to grab them for almost like a little handle. You can do that as well. Okay, so nice and tall. We're going to exhale, push forward, inhale back, thinking about the front part of our shoulder and the front of our chest. Squeezing those muscles. Exhale and inhale. Exhale and inhale. Let's do a few more of those. Guys, you're doing great. We're having fun. Couple more. Always feels so good when you're done working out. All right, let's release that. Okay, we're gonna move on. We're gonna do another lower body exercise. And I'm gonna show this one both seated and standing. So we can step on our band. And then we can just make sort of a little X across it, and you can put your hands just to the outside of your legs if you want. That way you don't really have to hold this very much. It just kind of sticks there. So you can do fists against your thighs or flat hands. And we're just simply going to step to the side and bring it back. Step to the side and bring it back. Good. So this is called that abduction again in the seated position. Okay, so keep doing that if you're doing it seated. If you'd like to do it standing, then we can just do alternate either toe taps in, toe tap in, or we can do out to the side. Now, if we're doing out to the side, we just got to be sure not to lean over too much. We want to maintain our core positioning so the body's not leaning. It's really the abduction coming from the hip. So it's not so much about how high you lift the leg. It's more about maintaining your core and just going wherever you feel the work. Another thing to think of is sometimes when we do it standing, we turn to the side and kind of turn our toes out. So we want to make sure we stay facing forward and our toes stay facing forward, or you could even kind of turn them in just slightly. Okay, so we're probably getting tired of these already. I know I am. So once you're tired, we'll take a little break. Okay, since we're in this position, and we can do this standing or seated, we're going to do a little rotator cuff work. So you're going to open the arms up like you're opening a jacket. And again, if you're seated, same idea. We're just going to have elbows to the side, and you're going to open the jacket, close the jacket. Thumbs sort of lead back with the palms up. And again, we're breathe out on the effort. So this is for the rotator cuff, our external rotators of our shoulder, infraspinatus, teres minor. And this is a really good exercise too, because once again, it sort of helps with our posture, helps get us out of the slouchy shoulder posture and into a nice open collarbone, proud posture. So let's just do 2 more of those. Always feel these. And relax. Give yourself a little shoulder roll. That's awesome. Okay, so let's we're going to do both of those exercises just back to back. So we're going to come up again and we'll do a second set. Okay, so again, either you're toe tapping this way, Maybe you're doing your abduction this way, and this time I'm going to come down and stay here and do it with you here. Okay, so just stepping wide. Good. Awesome. Maintaining that height and just kind of resting. The upper body shouldn't feel any work here, so if you're feeling stress, then you might just need to rig this up a little bit better so that there's no energy. It's almost like the band is kind of glued to your legs. And again, always when we're doing the seated stuff, you just gotta watch for relaxing that core too much. We want to use our core, be proud, stand tall, and we breathe. Let's do 4 more. 3, 2, and 1. Okay, and then we're going to come back to that rotator cuff, open the jacket, close the jacket. So the band I have is 7 feet long. Usually in the stores they sell them as 4 feet. So you may have to do one arm at a time if that's the case, or buy 2 bands and just tie them together to get that length that you need. So that's always an option. Again, if you're doing the standing, we can do it right here. You just might have to choke up on it a little bit more. Let's do 4 more of these. 3, still breathing. 2, and 1. We always want to keep those wrists nice and straight too. Okay, so now we're going to come back down to our chair and we're going to do a lateral raise. And I think what we'll do first is we'll do some lunging and then the lateral raise. So we give your legs a little bit of a break. So we're going to come up to standing, and if your legs prefer, you can do squats. Feel free to do squats. So if you find that maybe your knees don't appreciate lunges, you can always come behind the chair for your squats. You can just stand up and do your squats, whatever works. If you're okay with doing lunges, which are a little bit more challenging exercise, take the leg that's closest to the chair. You're going to step it back into a split stance, and the back foot here needs to be straight up and down. So we're going to stay nice and tall, and as we go down, the back knee goes toward the floor and the front knee also bends, and then we come straight up. So you can always use your chair for balance. You can put your hands on your hips. If we're doing anything that requires balance, it's important to pick a gaze point, maybe 5-6 feet in front of you, or maybe across on the wall, and just keep your eyes glued to that. And we're still breathing. So a lunge is used all the time in everyday life. Every step we take is basically one-legged movement at a time, or a bit of a split stance. So it's very functional movement. Now we have to make sure that back foot stays straight up and down too. It tends to want to sort of turn in, and then the torque sort of goes onto the inside of the knee. So we want to avoid that if we can. All right, again, I'm probably not counting right, so please feel free to make sure you're counting and do the same on both sides, since I'm talking so much as usual. Okay, so we're going to step back with the other leg. We're going to get nice and tall, and then we're just going to lunge down and up. Oh, wrong leg. The leg closest to the chair goes down. So take a moment to find your balance, find your way. Sometimes with the lunges, keep going, we'll find that we start to sort of hinge forward like so. So I want you to make sure that you stay nice and tall, keep the body vertical, and keep the pelvis vertical. So if you feel that your pelvis starts to spill forward, just try and activate your abs so the ribs and hips sort of stay the same distance apart from each other. If you find that you feel like you need to go forward instead of up and down, it's a good chance that that stance maybe isn't quite big enough as well. So you just might have to scoot your back foot back a bit further. All right, I think we should be pretty even. And we're going to do a lateral raise set, which can be done seated or standing. Okay, nice and tall. Now you could have a 45-degree angle at the elbows, bringing them up to shoulder height, or we can take the arms up to the side. Okay, exhale and inhale, exhale and inhale, exhale So this is for shoulders. You can be at a slight angle forward here with your arms. Just be cautious of the wrist. They like to do funky things. Okay, so we want to be just conscious of our wrist movement. And just a few more. We always want to keep a little bit of tension if we can on the band so it doesn't get too jiggly. We actually keep tension throughout the range of motion, some tension. A couple more. And last one. Now if you get tired doing those, you could always do one arm and then take a break, do the other arm, so you sort of alternate and it's a little easier. Okay, so that's our lateral raise. Now we're going to go back and do our lunges on either leg and the lateral raise again. Okay, so leg closest to the chair can go back. You can use that for balance to set up, and we're going to do those lunges. You could also hold weights too once you get really good at this, but it's not necessary. All right, keep breathing. Inhale, exhale. Keep that rib and hip distance the same. Core engaged, shoulders down and back. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Good, I should be counting now. Those of you who know me know I'm terrible at counting because I'm always talking. But you help me out so much with that. All right, last one. Let's go to the other side. Okay, set yourself up. Good posture, alignment, abdominals in. And we're going to do our lunge and our lift. Good, using the chair if you need. Making sure your back foot's straight up and down, the heel is lifted. And it doesn't have to be huge. Just go to where it might be the smallest lunge, that's okay. Some of you might have greater range, you can go down, but it's really whatever your body can do. Just honoring that. And remember, you can always do the squats too. So if you find that your knees are not loving the lunge, then I would just go to the bilateral squat. All right, excellent. All right, so now we're going to do some bicep and some tricep work. And then we'll do a few core things and then we're done. For our strength training, we'll do a quick stretch and then we'll be done. All right, so we're going to take this underneath our feet and this can all be done standing. We're going to do a bicep curl in sort of the thumbs up position. So again, you could do a loose loop. I wouldn't do this as a tight loop, but you can certainly do a loose loop. And we're going to take those thumbs toward our shoulders and then back down, still maintaining a little tension in the band as you go down. Exhale and inhale. Exhale and inhale. Few more. Okay, so working the bicep. Now we're going to work the oppositional muscle group, which is the tricep. And there's a few ways to do this, but I know we're getting probably ready to move on to some other aspect of our day. So we're going to do it bilaterally. So we're going to take our hands to our hips and just have a slight lean forward, but we're looking maybe 6 feet in front of us on the floor. I want you to draw your elbows back and your shoulders back. Imagine bringing your elbows to touch each other, which of course they won't, but just imagine doing that. Pulling them back and together, and then we're just going to push back to the wall behind us and then bring our hands just back to our hips. So keep going with that. So it looks like so. We kind of push back, hands to hips. We could do this in standing, sort of in a chair position, chair yoga position. Or we can simply stay here, just have that slight lean forward and push back. Push back. Think about squeezing the back of your upper arm. That's your tricep. Good, let's just do a few more. Always feel those, they feel great. And release. Excellent. Okay, now we're just going to do a little core workout. So you can just let the band go And just kind of scooch up a little bit to the front of your chair just to give yourself a little bit of space. And we can start with hands on the hips, or on the thighs. We could have the hands forward. We could have the hands here if we want a little extra workload. So I'm just going to start here. We start nice and tall, and I want you to feel the co-contraction of your abdominals and your back, kind of like a sense of almost a girdle, kind of wrapping around the waist, or a weight lifting belt, that kind of feeling around the waist and the ribs. So of course it is probably more the accurate terminology. Okay, so from here, we're going to stay nice and tall, and we're just going to hinge back from the hips till we feel that abdominal bracing. And then we're going to come right back up. Okay, so we're going to exhale when we go back. Inhale when we come forward. Exhale back. Inhale forward. It's nice to have that little pause at the back. Exhale back. And inhale forward. You can have them here. Exhale back. That'll create a little more weight. And inhale forward. If you still like a little more weight, exhale back. And inhale forward. So all those options are good. Just feel where you want to be. So the ticket here is to really stay nice and tall in your posture as you hinge back. So there may be a little urge or desire to sort of tuck under. So we want to make sure we're just maintaining our posture, our core alignment. And then coming back. Good job. All right, so we're going to come back to our biceps and triceps. We're doing 2 sets of everything, so I'm making this more of a strength training workout. You could do 1 set if you didn't have a ton of time. All right, so back to our bicep curls. These are actually called hammer curls when we're done in this position, where the palms would be facing one another, and it kind of looks like you're hammering something. Exhale and inhale. Exhale and inhale. Let's just do a few more. Exhale and inhale. Exhale and inhale. Last one. Exhale and inhale. Okay, back to the triceps, which is the back of the upper arm here. Same idea. We're going to find the choke that we like. We're going to have our hands by our hips, bring our elbows like we're trying to bring them together. Our collarbone is broad, and we can hinge forward from the hip. Keep the skull from going forward. We're going to draw it back, and then just simply push back like you're double poling and skiing. A double pole. And really think of squeezing the back of the upper arm. And you might even feel this into the back of your shoulder, into the posterior deltoid as well. Good. Sometimes as we start doing this, when we fatigue, the shoulders start to come up and the head starts to drop. So really think of the shoulders staying down, the chest staying proud, and then pushing back. We've got 4 more. 4, and 3, and 2, last time, and release. Good job. So bicep, tricep, and we're going to do a little more core work. Okay, so this time we're going to add a little bit of rotation to our hinge back. Okay, so we can bring the arms here if we like, and we're going to, let's do it with rotation, just stationary first. So we're just going to stay vertical. Elbows up, and we're just going to exhale, rotate, inhale, center. Exhale, rotate, inhale, center. So we're just using whatever energy we have in that core to create some spinal rotation. And we just want to think about here, again, not sort of slouching into it. We want to stay tall and just simply rotate to whatever your range is. It doesn't have to be huge. Okay, let's bring that back down. And we're going to take the arms up and do sort of a very similar movement, but this will also activate our shoulder girdle as well. So we're going to take the elbow back like you're pulling a bow and arrow, and you can turn and follow and look behind you if you like, and then bring it back to center. Exhale, turn. So the elbow's reaching back. We're spiraling through our spinal column here. And I also want you to think about reaching the arm that's in front, sort of reaching forward. And that will also help create that nice rotation through our ribs, using our obliques here. Now, if anyone has any osteoporosis, severe osteoporosis in particular, I wouldn't do any of the twisting, and in fact, I wouldn't do this workout at all without checking in with your physician. Exhale, inhale. All right, let's release that. Give your shoulders a little roll, let go of any tension that you feel there. Good. All right, I think that is going to be a good start for our workout today. And I'd like to end with a little stretching. It's so important to lengthen our muscles after you've been contracting for the course of the workout. Okay, so let's start with our lower body. We're going to take your right foot forward, get nice and tall, and then maintain the length of your spine as you hinge forward. And we want to feel sort of a gentle pull in the back of the leg. You may feel it as you pull the toes in. You may also feel this in your calf muscles and maybe even under the sole of your foot. Now this is where you might switch to some relaxing music, trying to help facilitate relaxation and the engagement of our parasympathetic nervous system. So we're switching over from our go, go, go to our R&R. Okay, we're going to take the same leg and we're going to do some external rotation here. So we can rest here. We could maybe add a little assistance closer to the hip joint to help rotate. Or if you're someone who has it available to you, you could cross the ankle over the thigh and just bring yourself into a vertical position again. Sometimes that's all you need to do to feel the stretch in the rotators. And if you can do a little bit more, if you have more available to you, just go right ahead and lean forward, keeping that nice width across your collarbone as you do so. And your breath should just be easy here. You can lengthen your exhales. You can just start to relax. All right, so we're going to switch now. We'll move over to the other side. We're going to have the toes up. Inhale, we get tall. Exhale, we're going to hinge forward from the hip till we feel that gentle pull again. The back of the leg, always maintaining our posture, our alignment, our breath, and just starting to ease and let go. This is like the dessert at the end of the meal. All right, we're going to take that leg, inhale, get tall, and then we're going to hinge forward. Again, you could stay in this position, or if it's available to you, you could take the ankle over, get nice and tall, find your core, and then hinge. And you might notice with the hips in particular, we seem to have one side that feels a little tighter than the other, and that's pretty typical. Nice deep breaths. All right, we're going to bring that down, and we're going to stretch out those inner thighs a bit by bringing the feet wide, the toes wide, and then just keeping your body long. You could use either your hands, or I like to use my forearms so my hands can relax. And just lean forward, drawing the knees open. If you have any heart issues, make sure you keep your head in line or above the heart, or blood pressure. And just enjoy that inner thigh stretch. Those muscles are often quite tight. All right, we're going to bring that up, and we're going to stretch out the hip flexors. going to turn in one direction, and we're going to end up taking the leg that's free and sort of scooting it back a bit. So you can kind of scoot that leg back. You might need to squiggle wiggle it a bit. And then we want to sit, again, if we can, nice and tall. Just watch for sort of this arching through the low back here. So I want you to sort of relax your back leg, reconnect the ribs to the hips, maintain your core, and then just start to push that heel back till you find this stretch through the front of the hip and the quadriceps. And then from here, we could take the same side arm up if you like, and that will create a bit more stretch. And we're still breathing. You might even want to do a bit of a side bend here. Get a nice lateral body stretch in there as well. All right, let's release that. Oh, this stretching feels so good. Okay, again, we're going to scoot the leg back, do your little squiggle wiggle, draw the abdominals in, keep the ribs and hips connected, and we're going to start to lift and extend that arm if you like as you're pushing the heel back. So it's like we're creating this long line of stretch or energy from the back heel all the way to the fingertips. And then we'll even draw that up and over. We're breathing. All right, we're going to bring that up. And we'll bring that leg back around. Okay, so we're just going to do a little more stretching, working our way towards the upper body. So we're going to draw the belly in, rounding the back, sort of from the side, and just trying to make sort of like almost like a mad cat stretch or a C curve in our spine. And then we're going to take some nice deep breaths, like you're breathing all the way to the kidneys. And then we're going to roll ourselves up, nice and slow, articulating that spine all the way up to vertical. Walking your feet back to the center. I guess I'm walking my feet back to the center. We're going to take those fingers, link them, and then just push out through your upper back. So you're bringing your shoulder blades apart, and we're drawing the chin down here just to get a nice stretch sort of between the shoulder blades and the upper back. And then we're going to take those arms and we're going to bring them into sort of a cowboy surrender position. So we're going to draw those arms back, stretching through the front of the shoulder and the pecs. It's a great stretch to do against the wall if you have the opportunity to kind of glue that hand and forearm and then turn outwards. It's an excellent stretch for the front of the shoulder and the chest. Okay, so feel free to do that as well as this one anytime you can. Okay, we're just going to take the palms down. You can either just push the palms down, or if it's available to you to link your fingers, you might want to do that. And then we're just going to lift an ear up. Imagine lifting that ear toward the ceiling, so we're stretching out the side of the neck. Take a breath or two there. And then we can turn the head and bring the chin down toward the shoulder, the collarbone. Take a few breaths there. We want to hold our stretches for like 10 to 30 seconds if we can. And we'll bring that back up. We'll do the same thing, opposite side, lift the ear up. Feel that nice stretch. And then back to center, we're going to turn our head in the other direction and draw the chin down towards the collarbone. We'll bring it back up through the center. Good, and then I just want to stretch out those biceps. We're going to push out to the side. Take the fingers back behind you, then maybe even open the chest a bit more, get that involved. And just enjoy that stretch through the arms. Let's take one arm up. We're going to bring it to touch our shoulder, and whatever's available to you. You might just want to push underneath into the tricep here to get that stretch. You may wish to kind of not pull right on the joint, but around the joint, and lift that arm up toward the ceiling. Okay, Okay, so you're welcome to do that. Just watch for really arching your back here. Try and keep your ribs into your body. Okay, and we're just going to release that. We'll do the other side. Same idea. Palm comes up. We push to whatever range we can, or we might pull and lift. Good. We're just taking those nice relaxing breaths, lengthening our exhale. Good. We're going to release that back down. We're going to finish our class with 3 deep breaths. So inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, draw that energy into your center, renewing, releasing. One last time, inhaling up and exhaling down. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining me. This was the first workout video I have ever done, and I really appreciate you guys joining me. Thank you so much, and have a great day. Namaste.